The chair recognizes Representative Simon to speak for the committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm on C2. First, because there seems to be some confusion on this point, let us establish what HB 440 is not meant to address. HB 440 is not a referendum on how the governor has handled the COVID-19 state of emergency. HB 440 is not focused on mask wearing and social distancing protocols, since courts in many states have already ruled that these practices are constitutional at this time. In fact, HB 440 is not meant to address the current state of emergency at all. HB 440 is a forward-looking bill and is designed to address a breach in our constitutional defenses revealed by our courts last year. Specifically, arguments made by the Attorney General's office and subsequently adopted by the Superior Court of New Hampshire during Binford versus Sununu, the first challenge to the governor's emergency orders. During this trial, the courts handed down the following dangerous ruling. The court finds that the governor may suspend constitutional rights during a state of emergency. Through this ruling, the court has contended that a statute written by this body supersedes the authority of the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the state of New Hampshire. HB 440 simply states that it was never the intention of this body that emergency order powers as outlined by our statutes should ever supersede the Constitution or compromise the rights of the citizens which that Constitution guarantees. Our federal and state constitutions are designed to protect us from the gross injustices visited upon mankind by mankind throughout human history. To strip our people of these constitutional protections during a state of emergency, when we are most vulnerable as individuals and as a society, is short-sighted and dangerous. Unless we address this issue, guaranteed protections from unreasonable search and seizures, a right to a speedy trial by jury, freedom of speech, protection from excessive fines, and cruel and unusual punishment, just for example, could be ignored and violated by a future governor if that governor can claim that it is necessary because of a state of emergency. These constitutional rights are conferred on us by natural law and by God Almighty. It is not within the authority of a legitimate government to revoke these rights, regardless of circumstances. In fact, government itself does not have rights. It has a responsibility to protect the constitutional rights of its citizens. No one knows what the next state of emergency will look like. We don't know if a future governor, Republican or Democrat, will attempt to abuse his or her power by suspending constitutional rights in a future state of emergency. We don't know what the future holds or what kind of person will wield emergency order powers. But we do know this, that we must do all we can do today. We must fulfill our duty to protect one another from any potential infringement of our rights. We must protect those who come after us, and we must protect the great state of New Hampshire. Fellow colleagues, let us not be short-sighted or complacent. I ask that you shore up our constitutional defenses during a state of emergency so that the responsibility for any potential future abuses will not rest upon our shoulders. Thank you.
House will be in order.